Hey, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Amanda.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Kathleen.
And this is the Federal Election Edition of Beyond a Ballot, powered by DoorDash. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Hannah Thibodeau, and it is Monday, April 7th, E-21. We are heading into week 3 of the federal election campaign, and today it's feeling a bit more like a campaign. All party leaders are on the trail, trying to steer the national conversation and spin the headlines to their benefit. Amanda Alvaro, let's start with you first. Mark Carney was in British Columbia promising a Liberal government would create 10 new national parks and marine conservation areas, but he tried to keep much of the conversation focused on who can stand up to the threats of America. Dig in.
Exactly. So he's on the West Coast for the first time in the campaign. So the first 2 weeks, he was mostly on the East Coast. He stopped in Manitoba, and then he was over to Victoria, where he also made an announcement promising temporary supports to help retirees cope with the U.S. tariffs. This was announced today that he would lower the minimum amount that must be withdrawn from a registered retirement income fund by 25%. You'll recall that this was something that the feds also did during 2020 to help seniors protect their retirement funds, especially around a lot of market volatility. So this was another opportunity for him to talk about the supports that a Liberal government would provide, especially to retirees. But it was also an opportunity to keep the conversation focused on Trump tariffs and the anxieties around Trump tariffs and how he will alleviate some of those anxieties. And this one, I think, is one that a lot of people were hoping to hear. I will make one more comment about it, and that was that he also made a jab at Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. He said that we've seen Doug Ford. He's been all over Fox News. And then he said, maybe we're going to see Danielle next, or maybe we don't send Danielle because that was a bad idea. So a jab at Alberta Premier.
Okay, Rachel Siegel. Pierre Poilievre, also in Battleground, BC, pledging a Conservative government would fast-track 10 major resource projects, but much of his appearance was spent attacking Carney directly, a sign of who he sees as the real threat.
Well, I think that when you look at the polls and where Jagmeet Singh is sitting, Mark Carney is his direct competitor. So today, Pierre is up in the north of British Columbia. He's in Terrace. A candidate that is up there is named Ellis Ross, who used to be a cabinet minister in the BC government under the BC Liberals. He also was the former chief of the Haisla Nation. And one of the things that he did was bring a lot of resource projects to the Haisla Nation. And so it was very on theme that Pierre today was up there talking about one and done approvals for resource projects. And the one and done rule that he was talking about was to create a one-stop shop, a single office called the Rapid Resource Project Office that'll handle regulatory approvals for resource projects, one application ending duplications of things like environmental reviews on projects, and a 1-year maximum wait time for approvals with a target of 6 months. So trying to shorten that approval timeline and get more stuff built in this country. Tonight, he is off to Alberta. And as we know, that is the home of conservatism in this country. And so he will be having a rally in Edmonton tonight. And I have absolutely no doubt that will be very big.
That'll be an interesting rally to watch for sure. Kathleen Monk, Jagmeet Singh laid out a major housing plan, $16 billion to help provinces and cities build 3 million homes by 2030. But once again, he was dogged by tough questions. Why isn't the NDP gaining traction with voters despite these type of big promises?
Well, you know what the answer to that is, Hannah? It's always that the only poll that ever really matters is the poll that takes place on election day. So that's April
Think I've heard
28th,
that.
unless you're an advanced voter, and then that will be even sooner. Yeah, no, Jagmeet Singh is back on the issue that matters, really one of the top issues that matters most to Canadians. That's the affordability crisis and on housing. Thinking about building, 3 million new homes, as you said, in over 5 years. It's a really aggressive plan, investing over $16 billion into that to kind of deal with the urgencies that families are really feeling right at home, right, to tackle the affordability crisis and to see if they can actually build houses at a more rapid rate. It's actually doubling the current pace the Liberals have proposed and not giving all of the building opportunities just to basically corporate profiters. There's what Pierre Poilievre would do to the people who would speculate on land and other developers. But also I would say, there's been some momentum, despite the national news on Jagmeet Singh. He did, if you're paying attention to Quebec, he was on Tous les Mondes en Part last night with Ruth Ellen Brousseau, a former NDP MP who ran and was first elected in 2011. She's a good friend of mine, and she's decided to throw her hat in the ring again. And so she's back there, and she appeared alongside him on Tous les Mondes en Part, which is a very, very popular television program, talk show in Quebec.
She's a very strong candidate as well. She was a strong MP. Let's go to campaign call out. Rachel, let's start with you today.
My shout out today is to our former Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, who will be introducing Pierre Poilievre at his rally tonight in Edmonton. And what a full circle moment this must be for him, because Pierre was actually his former staffer. So Pierre worked for Stephen Harper when the Conservatives were in opposition, and now to be introducing him as the next Prime Minister of Canada, somebody to succeed Stephen Harper, is probably a really amazing moment for him. And then my second shout out is to Jagmeet Singh, who's holding on to campaigning while at the same time facing almost absolute destruction in the polls. But, Mark Carney hasn't really announced anything over the last couple of days, but Jagmeet Singh has. And so that is my second shout out to Jagmeet Singh to keep on going.
Amanda, your turn.
Yep. Okay, so my campaign call out is a weird one because Pierre Poilievre is not one of 5 candidates in his riding on his ballot. He is now one of 56 candidates on the ballot. This is a strange thing that people may have heard about. Every election, there's a group that puts together a list of independents and adds them to one of the ballots. It's a confusing strategy. It's meant to confuse the electorate, but it's also meant to highlight some of the issues that they have with the first past the post voting system. So when people go to the ballots in Carleton, and if they want to check out Pierre Poilievre or some of the other candidates, they will see a list of 56 candidates this time around. Strange one. And I have one more little call out if I have time, and that is the weird thing that happened over the weekend in Scarborough at a Liberal rally when somebody yelled out, "Lead us, Big Daddy," to Mark Carney. Did you all hear about that one?
I love that.
No.
Lead us, Big Daddy. It was hilarious. It was so funny. Yeah.
Lead us, Big Daddy. Weird one.
Okay, that is a weird one, and I hadn't heard that one. So thank you for sharing that, Amanda.
But I gotta say, Amanda, he did react well to it. When those moments happen in a campaign rally, and whether it's someone who's heckling you in a negative way or heckling you in a positive way, which this woman obviously was very positive towards Mark Carney. He handled it well with a laugh and some smiles. That was good. My campaign call out actually goes to friends south of the border. We've all seen the fallout from the Trump tariffs, 3 days of rolling, almost, stomach sickening churn on the stock markets, terrifying for retirees, terrifying for anybody really. Just thinking about the impact in communities and people faced with job losses. So I've got to get a big shout out to the protesters, the 50-51 protesters. It was 50 states, I believe, all coming together, 50 protests on one day. And that was Saturday. And there were millions of Americans out in the streets everywhere from, New York to Virginia to California, you name it. Lots of red states too. And they were protesting the cuts that Trump was making in that country, mainly to education and other things. But what it showed me is signs of life, signs of resistance in the states, and with Trump's or the Republican loss in Wisconsin in terms of the judge appointment, Elon had a loss there too. I'm seeing signs of people getting off the mat in the U.S. and that warms my heart.
Okay, I am going to give a campaign call out today because I can. It's going to be to Rachel, Amanda, and Kathleen because these amazing women are all business leaders in our community right across this country. And guess what they are all doing? Picking up kids, driving kids, and sitting in an airport after traveling internationally and giving your fill of Beyond a Ballot. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in today and tuning into these amazing women. Hope to see you tomorrow, same trail, fresh spin.
Thank you for listening. New episodes come out daily, and you can find Beyond a Ballot on Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. A huge thank you to our title sponsor, DoorDash, and sponsors Equal Voice, Page, and Canada Powered by Women for making this election special possible. Speak to you tomorrow.